Hello everyone. Harry is so very henpecked that the king calls him out. Brilliant. It is so sad for King Charles to give birth to and raise Harry. Perhaps at this point in Harry's mind, there is no longer King Charles's presence, but instead, the image of Meghan, to be exact. Meghan has completely brainwashed and instilled in his mind that everything Meghan does is right, and he must completely obey her. This would be the golden period, especially considering his age and, of course, the fact that he has gone through his own personal health battle, as is, of course, your sister-in-law, the Princess of Wales. Catherine, it is a strange situation to find yourself in, isn't it, when you think there is your father, a reigning monarch, and you have no real relationship with him. But this would be the golden period. Strange, regardless of what others believe, you know. The fact that Harry appears to be so henpecked and is not permitted to have touch with anybody. As I have mentioned to you in the past, the aspect that I find to be rather peculiar is the fact that he is not permitted to bring the two children to the United Kingdom by himself. That kind of proud moment, you know, bringing the children to meet the family, is something that you would have imagined he would have enjoyed participating in. The fact that Meghan Markle considers London to be a really dangerous place to return to is something that we all acknowledge. So why on earth is it that he is unable to bring his own children all the way back over? But in fact, I still don't know where those two children came from. Do you think they are a case of surrogacy? If yes, please comment number 1. And if no, please comment number 2. Or if you have other thoughts, please express them in the comments section below. Back to the discussion, what he may believe, it is obvious that they are secure with him, and he has not had any difficulties. In the documentary, he did not make any mention of the children, did he? You are probably familiar with the idea of tabloid reports or whatever, trials or anything like that. Therefore, it would make complete sense if it were just the wife to tell you the truth. However, this is the real reason why His Majesty the King is not receiving calls at the moment. I can tell you this because it is the truth. Permit me to expand. The former member of the royal family, who is now known as Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is another individual who, of course, may be waiting a very long time for a return to his previous level of performance. You may have heard these stories that His Majesty the King is basically saying, no, you know, does not take calls. You may have seen this news yourself. I am not sure whether you are aware of this, but what you should know is that they are unable to use mobile phones, just as a lot of individuals who are, let's say, highly renowned, like Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber. Additionally, it would appear that King Charles is not very skilled when it comes to operating a mobile device. For whom is he to blame? Certainly, I have a hard time with this. In the event that something goes wrong, and you need to go and get somebody, do you dread the situation as they touch it? You wonder to yourself, was that all there was? As a matter of fact, the reason why His Majesty the King does not have a cell phone is that, first and foremost, he does not appreciate the concept of being called when he is dealing with something that is far more essential. Yes, you are able to comprehend that, right? However, the fact remains that his days are well planned out, and he spends a lot of time with other people. In other words, even his oldest son, His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, Prince William, would be required to schedule an appointment due to the fact that it is during the daylight. This may appear to be a peculiar proposition to some individuals. The situation is different in Balmoral. There is their free time and other kinds of things like that. Nevertheless, things are quite different during the weekdays. In part, this is the reason why Harry is not permitted to just pick up a phone and call someone. On the other hand, according to that reliable source, His Majesty the King has apparently stated that there would be no more phone calls. If you would like to chat, I am available. We have Balmoral here. Be alone yourself. So, let's go about it one-on-one. And this information comes from a reliable source. You could not possibly be more honest or forthright than that at this point. Without a doubt, he is aware of how safe it is. In recent years, I have not spent a significant amount of time there during the summer vacations. Now, this has simply gone silent. Because when you call those kinds of individuals out, and in particular, Charles would very much like him to bring the two children, if that is the case, so that he might finally get the chance to see them in their whole, as it were. Once more, there is no deal, there is no chance, there is only quiet. As a matter of fact, Charles is unable to take phone calls. I should have said that I should have stated His Majesty the King, but he simply is unable to do so. Why would he put himself in danger of being recorded? According to him, this is a step in the right direction. And it would appear that even the older brother, Prince William, considers this to be the most effective method of dealing with the extraordinarily challenging younger brother, Prince Harry, or Harold, as he referred to him in his book. Now, what is remarkable about this is that, as I mentioned before, it has lost its life. Due to the fact that you are aware of both sides of the argument, I am going to tell you this anecdote. I believe that His Majesty the King has been exceptional in terms of fairness and kindness. It is the ideal opportunity. What are you holding you back, Harry? It is the most important question. This is the question that everyone in Balmoral is really interested in finding out the answer to. I guess it suits Harry and the narrative of his supporters to believe that the aggressive, arrogant, petulant, and entitled man-child, who is reported to be living apart from his wife and alleged children, is indeed the victim he fakes and professes to be, despite his ability to callously victimize his own family. Certainly, he never saw battle. He was the spare. You can't lose the spare. He plays combat games in the bunker. Does that count? Of course. Meghan can't take the chance that someone will do a DNA test on the kids. She'll never let anyone near them. All it takes is one strand of hair or a drop of saliva. I believe covering up Meghan's past and the baby rows is why they want IPP status. That's why she will never allow them to come here with Harry, because they're not her children. And a DNA test would prove they are her bargaining chip. DNA testing would clear the air for a few years until the teens start asking questions. She has things to hide without a valid birth certificate. How do we know the baby wasn't trafficked? In fact, we don't know, only that no one ever sees them. And we know she wasn't pregnant either time, and the miscarriage was just puff piece material for her. She wants everyone's empathy, 'cause she has none of her own. It's well past time Harold starts being made accountable for his years-long campaign of hate and intent to damage the royal family. Good for His Majesty the King. Cut him off. He needs to know actions have consequences. To be honest, henpecked is an understatement. Whipped, trapped, handbag, puppet, and the list goes on. Moreover, Harry treats his father, who has cancer, with the same cruelty he treated his dying grandparents. He is a horrible person. He always has been a twat, but it was always covered up before. It's manifested because the royal minders are not there to soak up and hide his gaffes and his utter disregard for anyone that isn't me again. And that's wearing very thin. Wouldn't it be great if Harry agreed to do a TV show as Undercover Prince? He'd have to live in a middle-class home for 6 months or 1 year, manage the mortgage and utilities, submit to a homeowners association, mow the lawn, and shop for groceries. They can go to a farmer's market, but not just carry flowers in an oversized shopping bag. Meghan can work too if they can afford the daycare. And Meghan can make tasty meals herself since she's a cook, but they have to be within the budget. He can go to work a full-time job, maybe one with a non-set schedule, at an Amazon distribution center, or doing stock and cleaning at a Walmart. Has to drive a car that he has to put gas in, make sure the rig is up to date, bring in for maintenance, all of it. That is one Harry and Meghan Netflix show I'd actually watch. Ahaha. A snake is forever a snake, no matter how many times it sheds its skin. He's as bad as she is. Ungrateful and vindictive, cruel, bitter, and weak, willing to sell his honor, to stab his family in the back, willing to lie and perjure himself to become rich, all while trying to convince the world how hard done by he is. Anyway, the king is better off without Harry around spoiling his holidays. He can't be trusted, and that's why they weren't invited to Balmoral this year. It also put a stop to all of the will they won't they becoming PR puff pieces from Monte Shit Show. Well played, King Charles. I believe the problem was, Harry was not very bright, had lifelong anger issues, was spoiled, and having a hard time coping with Diana's death. So Charles put him into mental counseling, and let Harry get away with murder, aka bad behavior, drugs, and alcohol, and swept all he could under the rug, which taught Harry nothing about responsibility and honesty. Harry and William were raised in the same circumstances, and there is no comparison between them as adults. Harry, the 40-year-old toddler, is still bullying King Charles. No way will Meghan want Harry and King Charles meeting up without her there taking the lead. King Charles needs to focus on his health and the family he has around him, who are the right people, just like Queen Elizabeth did. Exactly. She won't let the children go anywhere. They are her meal ticket in their crumbling marriage. What I find astounding is the fact that no one from her side of the family has told the whole story about her and her kids, her father, and her mother, the drug dealer who was in jail. Why has this story never been told? She's all about telling outrageous lies about his family, and he went along and was complicit in everything they said. And did I think it's about time the tables were turned? Makes you wonder what Meghan has on Harry. What is he scared of with her? How much demeaning crud will he take? It's insanity that hounded Harry makes such demands. Harry's albatross makes his life miserable and quite difficult. And somehow, it's King Dad's fault. I think Harry should cut his losses, and if he has to, chew his arm off to get out of that trap. But anyway, that's just our kindness. In reality, Harry is not unable to do it, but his mentality is not clear enough to realize the problem. Do you think so? Thank you for watching my video. Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye, and see you again.